was a lot of fun. Man, you gotta love hill climbing the Jawbone. Hey everyone, this is Hardcore Enduro, where it's all about getting out and riding the hard stuff. I'm George, the guy behind the bars and the voice behind the mic. And we're at Jawbone on our way to towards Chuckwalla Peak. For the last video, we went the other side, the north side of Jawbone, and did Sugarloaf. Now we're going the south side down to Chuckwalla. And right off the bat, we got a big hill climb. We found this one wasn't as sandy. There's a lot of really sandy hill climbs at Jawbone. This one wasn't quite as sandy, so their 250s could get up. Without a lot of horsepower, the 450, some of these really sandy hill climbs are a little bit tough. Anyways, so Case is ahead of me. We're waiting for Jace. That was him about halfway, giving us the old arm pump. Keep on going. Yeah, buddy, look at that, wheeling up there. These climbs on Jawbone are really steep, really big, and you got to just carrying a lot of speed and momentum up the hill the whole time. So we're off. We're gonna get up to that peak. Kind of do a ridge route all the way to as we get closer to Chuckwalla. Just still a lot of climbing. We got to gain a lot of altitude. And this isn't so much a single track. A lot of this is like a double track, even side by side. There's a lot of side by side trails that go along the top here, but still really fun. Now where we picked up, we just kind of went close to where we parked the trailer, but Jawbone's a long canyon, and you can there's many routes. There's actually some really hard single track to the north of us that I'd like to do, but we're running out of time, so I knew we could get up on this ridge route and kind of shoot over there real quick, because I wanted to get over towards Chuckwalla and check out some of that gnarly terrain over there. We got to come back here. You could really spend several days in Jawbone. There's just so many different single track that you could explore. And there's some really hard stuff, really fun stuff, and a lot of hill climbs. I love climbing hills. There's always like this sense of accomplishment whenever you able to summit, a big hill climb. Yeah, really chunky and choppy. Wasn't too. I was getting pretty good traction, but it gets really rutted out and wind blown, and it really doesn't rain too much out here. But when it does rain, it just kind of makes those washed in ruts from the water cutting the rocks. As you ride along the ridge, just got epic views to the left and right. The right is the main Sierras, and out on the left, that's just the open desert there. You got like California City to your left, and it's just real pretty, especially in this day with the clouds. It was a fun ride. You got on the left and right too, there's different runs. Like I said, there's just a ton of trails, and there's just a ton of climbs and lines you see that are just, sometimes they're outrageous. You're like, wow, someone hit that hill over there, that slope, and it's just crazy what people have done in the past. Got a couple whoops. Gotta keep you honest. Gotta have the whoops in. The desert has the whoops. I know a lot of mountain trails have whoops too, but the desert, guaranteed, it's got those big whoops from all the wind being blown, or blowing the sand over the tops, making them bigger and bigger. So yesterday we rode the 100s MC Sprint Enduro. So this is our second day of riding this weekend, and this Sprint Enduro, those fast style races, really help you out in riding quick on the trail. You know, when I do my normal riding, I ride real slow. All the hard technical stuff, you ride real slow because you're trying to be more precise. Sometimes you got to get out of that, and being able to hit fast open trail, hitting the whoops real fast. Look at this really rutted out section right here. There's a really rutted out hill climb. Just so many different line choices you can choose. Because every time you make a new run every season, probably that fresh line, then it storms, and then that line gets rutted out, so then you're picking a new one the next season. So those the line choices just keep changing year after year. Couple abandoned mines out here that you could take some time. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, there's one to the right. There's just kind of debris everywhere. Then down to the left, there's just a bunch of mines. Still some shafts that are open. So if you had time, you could explore those a little bit. I don't recommend going to any mine shaft, and you know that'd be dangerous. But just checking them out. It's always fun to see what the old miners used to do and how they used to get around these. You know, they're the ones that cut out a lot of these original roads and trails. And those guys are just nuts. You know, using donkeys and mules to get around on here, that had to be really tough. A good little gnarly downhill section through the rocks. A lot of this granite's just decomposed, and you got that really hard rock base with a little thin film of pebbly rocks on top. Makes it a little bit slippery, but the base, if you get that exposed, you get a lot of traction. So just keeping the balance, picking our way down through the rocks. Coming up, here's one of those abandoned mines up here. Bunch of just trash and debris everywhere. Wonder when these mines are operating, you know, if they're back in the... I know some mines are operating fairly recently, like the 70s and 80s. Nice little rock ledge there. Good job, Jay, getting over that. I'm just curious when these mines will be operating, if they're back in the 1800s, early 1900s. Or, you know, some in the 60s and 70s still operating. So we're just taking this this kind of service road route to get over there quickly. There are single track that you could take that would take you down through the bottom of the canyons and some of the other ridges that are just really hard single track. Really tight and narrow, but we're just saving some time hitting the service road to get over there in a hurry. But this service road reminded me so much of the race in Virginia City. If you've ever done Virginia City Grand Prix, they'll have a service road. Most of the races on the service road, and it's just really bumpy. A lot of this softball sized rocks, really jagged rocks, sharp rocks. You know, it's easy to get a pinch flat on. And you got the left lane, or you'll have like the main line, main route that everyone takes, and then you'll have the rougher route. And whenever you go to make a pass, it's hard because everyone's taking the easy or where the rocks have moved out of the way. To make a pass, you have to go on the rough lane, either to the right or left. So anyway, it's just that little section there really reminded me of Virginia City. We come up here and we find two other riders. We haven't seen any other riders all day. Even though there's a lot of campers out, a lot of guys are in side-by-sides and quads, and they stick in the canyon. So it's kind of cool seeing some riders actually out on the trail. How you guys doing?
We're good. Where are you guys headed?
We're just going that way.
Just going this way?
Yeah. I see there's some single track on the other ridge over there.
Have you guys ridden that?
No.
Okay, we're just eyeballing.
So those guys are just watching us come down. They're trying to, they're gonna see where we go. And I pointed where we wanted to go on this other ridge down here. And I don't think they ended up coming down here. They probably stayed on the main track. This is gonna get hard, so we're gonna leave kind of the main route, and now we're gonna start on the single tracks area where it gets pretty good. It's got some pretty good terrain coming up, pretty gnarly. These climbs, they're steeper than it looks. The camera never gives it justice. So there's a single track here, it follows that ridgeline. You could take that right, and that would have gone all the way back to the Jawbone Canyon. You go left, because we're heading up to Chuckwalla, which is the next little mountain ridge over. We had a nice little downhill section, and then you can see the trail cuts up that hill in front of us. It's really rocky. Like I said, it's got that hard base like granite rock with the little the decomposed granite just on top of it, making it a little bit loose.
They're coming.
Just checking that they're following. We don't have our pack talks on right now. My pack talk, the little pigtail where it plugs in, it stopped working on me. I know. I love my intercom system, and I wish we really had it in this ride. It helps out so much when you do a group ride, being able to keep in contact with everyone and know where everyone's at. This is a gnarly little section here. You can see how V'd out the rock is. Got some big chunky rocks. Just kind of picking my way, taking my time through it. There is a pretty big drop off to the right here. Pick my way, just feathering that clutch, walking the bike through. Those rocks they're really big, hitting the pigs. Now we got this. We got a pretty good uphill climb. Really chunky rocks that'll kick your tire out left and right. So you got to carry momentum, and at the same time you got to pick a good line, avoid the rocks that roll on you. It's kind of hard to do, but keep that momentum. You're able to carry up through the climb. There, Jace went down, got kicked out. He's saying go right, so I'm gonna go right around. Now I told Jace too, so when you got these really long climbs, they wear you out. You're up on your pegs, or you're walking the bike, you get your hand, from holding the clutch gets tired. So You don't have to one-shot it. Take a break. Just take a little section at a time. So that's, you can see he's shaking out his hands there. So I'm glad he's learning this type of terrain. It's extreme. You don't have to just one-shot it, hit the top every time. The more conditioning you have, the more skill you got. Yeah, you're gonna be able to go farther. But just take each little section. The main thing is you want to make the least amount of mistakes. I love Graham Jarvis. He's one of the best at making the least amount of mistakes and using the least amount of energy to clear any obstacle. As an older guy, having to compete with young guys that are probably have better conditioning than he does.
Nice.
But he's able to save his energy, not use so much energy to clear an obstacle, whereas you see the young guys, they're clearing obstacles, but they're working a lot harder than he is. So Case, he's done pretty good. He's already at the next big climb waiting for us. We're just making our way through this rock section here. This is good stuff. I love this style of riding. On to the next climb. Got a little rest. Got to rest my clutch finger out. My clutch finger, my index finger, I had it broken. I thought I just dislocated it, but I think it broke at the knuckle when I crashed when I was doing the Bradshaw Trail, and it's grown back at an angle, so my index finger doesn't straighten out all the way, and then I can't close it all the way, so I'm having to do a lot of clutching with my middle finger now too, and it's starting to get more comfortable. I was an index finger clutcher, and now I'm a middle finger clutcher, so I guess you got to be able to do both. So pretty long, steady climb, really rocky. You see all these bouldery, little chunky rocks. As long as you're being able to pick a good line, standing up on the pegs, that way you're letting the bike kind of bounce around under you without losing your balance. Now this next one is a doozy. To the right there, that's Chuckwalla Peak, and there's no name for this peak that we're climbing up, but it is steep and it is very rocky, chunky.
Really chunky through there.
Yeah, and that chunky rock section just slows down your momentum.
Nope.
Jace got kicked out, so I'm gonna ride up there and make sure he's all right. Case, he's going for the big hill already, and it's gonna be a battle to get up that hill. It's really steep. It's on the ridge line, and the wind's kind of whipping over the top. We're up, these top of the peaks. The wind's just going by really quick.
You all right? All right.
Jace is back at it. So Jace, I told him you gotta have as much momentum as you can to get up. Cause that rock section, it's loose, and a lot of those softball-sized rocks are just moving under your tire. So I went up and helping him. So we're up at that ridge line, and he's trying to walk, and I'm pushing down as I'm pushing up to try to weight that back tire so it gets a little bit more traction.
Just do a little bit so you don't get tired, Just do little bites.
Yeah, so I was saying just do a little bit at a time, because you really tire yourself out, and when you're tired to make a mistake, and you can't afford to make a mistake on this ridge line, the bike, if he whiskey throttles and it goes shooting to the left, it's a steep drop off there, and even to the right, So that's it, just being smart about getting up here. Case comes to help out as well. But just do little bits at a time so you're not exhausting yourself and causing a big mistake. You can just hear that wind. Alright, Jason Case, they're making their way up, so I didn't walk back down, get on my bike, and I'm going to make my shot at it. Come in and try to bring at a lot of speed. It's just really, you know, the rocks are just moving all over the place. So that's as far as I get. And it's real skinny, this little ridge line. You don't have a lot of room for air. Yeah, it's so skinny you can't do any switchbacks with the pivot turns, so you gotta just keep going straight. And it's right at that balance of teetering where if you lean back a little bit, that front tire just picks up off the ground. So I'm leaning forward as much as I can. I gotta, you know, walk with the bike up here to keep my balance. But I'm just doing little bites at a time, so I'll go forward a little bit until I feel that back tire kind of digging in, then I stop, I rock it back, and then go forward a little bit more, and then rock it back, and go forward a little bit more, and I'm able to keep going up the trail that way. Gonna burn that clutch up. That's what I'm gonna do. I burned up a clutch last year, and I got a Henson clutch pack in there, and I kind of like the Henson. It's really grabby, and I did notice when the clutch starts getting hot here, it starts to have like a shuddering feel to it. It's not as smooth. So I don't know if that's a sign that the clutch is wearing out, or if it's just that's what a Henson clutch pack does when it gets hot, or if that's what all clutch packs do when they get hot. Now when I wore out the clutch, worn out clutch is you give it gas and the bike doesn't go nowhere. It's like it's totally slipping. This part right here's got a couple really big rocks in the way, and I'm gonna try to shoot to the right of it. I'm gonna pivot turn, go up right, pivot turn back left, and get around these rocks. If they didn't give out, like if you get traction, you could just pop it right over the rocks. But every time you try to go, the back end just digs in. It's quite the struggle bus to get up off the line here, so then I can pivot left. We got her done. Yeah, it's a steep drop off to the right. If I rock back there or fall right again, that's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, buddy. But I got my little strategy worked of going around that hard section. So Case, he made it up on his own. Case and Jason helped each other get Jace up, and then since Case made it on his own, I was like, nope, I gotta make it on my own, which. You know, you learn a lot. You learn how to, like I said, just learning how to keep that bike momentum going up, not digging a hole for myself. Made it. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
Gotta take a break.
That was tough.
Gotta take a 30-second break before we keep going. Alright, so there's Chuckwalla right in front of us there. It's steep. There is a trail that goes up that. And you might have to get it from the other side. We're just going here as a recon to see what that trail looked like. I've seen it on the map. You can go on Google Earth, or I use my Onyx off-road map, and it has a GPS satellite view. That's how I find most of my trails, is through my Onyx off-road. But if you really want high quality, you can always go to Google Earth and just find trails that way. It works really well.
Oh, don't let the bike fall on you.
You got a real steep descent right here.
Oh.
You can see how steep it was. The back end just whipped around. Luckily, Case got out of the way and didn't get pinned by the bike. Jace walks a little bit, and then he decides he's gonna just ride it down, ski it down, which keeps his balance pretty good. Does a good job. Good job, Jace.
Right on, right on. He's skiing down.
So I just stay on. I ended up just staying on the bike the whole time and rode it down. Which coming up here, right there, right on the left, right there. Woo! That was a big hole, big drop off. Well, if you hit that one, that would another just. I'm telling you, Jawbone's extreme. It's got some places that are nasty, hairy. You would be in a world of pain if you fell down that. Okay, so he finally gets on his bike. I'm trying to point out, don't avoid that area.
That's a bad hole right there.
Yeah, that would have been bad. So keep going along this little ridge, and the trail goes right. Jace went left, and there's a big drop off on the other side, and he wants to turn the bike around, and he's kind of wedged between those rocks there. So I'm gonna help him get his bike turned around.
Just go in reverse.
As you ride, the more experienced rider you become, you know, you're gonna figure out how to problem solve bad areas. And it's funny how some people get themselves stuck in a bad situation, and they haven't had enough experience to figure out how to get out of it. Instead of pivot turning right there and getting himself pinned, he could have just, you know, reversed the bike, walked back. So here's that drop off. Now it's on this rock. This rock is like decomposed old granite rock or whatever it is. It's actually really grippy.
I mean,
it is very steep there.
I think it's good.
I give him the thumbs up. I'm like, all right, it's not
Just go slow.
too.
Start
It's
out,
not.
Try to stay as slow as possible for as long as you can, and then you're gonna catch yourself right there.
Yeah. I got that from the RC tire guy. Shout out to
You're gonna have to let it roll though and catch yourself right there.
Rich.
Go as far as you can.
Rich
as slow as
Larson.
you can.
He's the one that said you go as slow as you can for as far as you can before you let it go. So I watch a lot of his instructional videos on YouTube. He does. I think he does a fantastic job teaching how to ride hard enduro skills.
Perfect.
And never forget that you go as slow as you can for as far as you can before you
Yeah, buddy.
let the bike go down and stay in control. So there I go. And as I do it, of course, the camera doesn't, it just makes it look easy. But stay on the bike and just try to stay as slow as you can for as far as you can before you let the bike roll down. And actually got a lot of traction there, you know. It wasn't a big deal. So the trail goes up to the right there, up Chuckwalla. And it's very steep. And if we were here a couple days, maybe we'd try tackling this route and just going up there. It'd be steep, it'd be a battle, but
start heading back to camp, you know.
we'd try that. Anyways, we're gonna start heading back, and it's a good riding through here. This is really gnarly terrain. Still can't figure out what kind of rock this is. You know, I'm not a geologist or anything, but it's, you know, when you're riding, you always see different variations of rock. I mean, I'm always got that nerd in me where I just kind of want to know what it is. So maybe this, I'm thinking maybe this was like an undersea volcano, or it was undersea at the time. That's why you got a lot of sand mixed in here with the granite. That was a nice little rutted out rock climb right there. Case, he actually went first and didn't make it up. He turned around, went back down, and then I did a one shot. As long as he carried your speed up there, the bike tractored up really nice.
Shit, I'm in the way.
Yeah, my bad.
There, we gotta get out of the way for him.
Should have moved the bike a little bit further down.
He's coming.
comes Case. Didn't quite carry enough momentum up. Yeah, just gonna help pull that front tire that last little bit. Alright, from here we start our big descent down this ridge line to the left there. We're gonna take it all the way to the valley floor. We got a lot of elevation to drop, and still a lot of really gnarly sections to go through right at this top portion of the trail. And then as you get to the far side, as you get closer to the valley, it's a steep, another real steep just descent.
Stay to that, take that right line.
Should I go right or left?
We're going right. Down there. Just stay slow and control.
Yeah, it's just some really steep descents here.
This ain't bad lying through here. Just stay in this rut. Not bad.
And there was another like gnarlier line to the left, like on top of that rock line. I'm telling you, there's some crazy guys have been riding out here, really choosing some scary stuff. We're just engine off, kind of making our way, sliding down here. One thing on these descents,
Go slow.
you know, you're dragging your back tire, and in the sand, that's not so bad dragging the back tire because that really digs in, acts like a rear anchor. But on this hard packed rock, the granite rock, when your back end starts sliding, the back end actually tries to swap you. And I don't know if you noticed, Case, when it's coming down, the back end will start sliding out, so you got to pull in that clutch, let that back tire roll a little bit so that it gets a lot more traction. You see that line? There's lines to the right there going around the other way.
Good job.
Can't wait to come back. We'll come back here and do a lot more exploring. There's just a ton of trails going everywhere. Now there was a trail going left back there, and we should have taken that going left. Or maybe it's right here. Because we want to go left. The RV and the camper is back left. And I think, was that it right there? Anyways, we don't go left, and we just keep going straight. And we end up taking this all the way down to the valley floor. Then we got to ride down the valley, then back up the mountains to cross over back to where the rig was parked. Now this here, another really sketchy area. You got to come around left, and it's steep. It just drops off. You know, you can see it just drops off to the end of that canyon right there. And it's really grippy though. There's some pebbles there, but you're still getting a lot of traction to get around this rock and get on the other side. Then it has this real steep rocky drop off, and you just gotta, like I said, stay in control, stay as slow as you can for as long as you can, and then let it roll down the rocks. We ain't racing. Whenever a trail ride, really hard stuff, I like to do a little recon and just check it out before we just go blindly into it. You can see that's a pretty good drop off there, really rocky. And it curves around right, or you can just go straight. I think coming up,
You could probably just ride it down real slow.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna
Not
take.
even go
Case
right,
is gonna
just
go
go
to the
right,
right,
straight.
and then he's gonna have to pivot his bike around
It
to
has a
go
lot of
left.
traction. It's not loose rock.
And it is super duper steep, but if you just go straight and kind of ride those rocks down, that's what I did, and Jace did that. That seemed to work pretty good.
Woo! Alright, oh, you went right. Good. Go up there, you can make a pivot, kickstand pivot or a regular pivot, or just walk the bike around. You can probably just split that, Jace. Stay slow, in control, and then you can just turn left. There you go, yep. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
just like that. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy!
Yeah, buddy.
Woo!
It's so funny when I do voiceovers, and I'll say the
Easy.
same thing doing the voiceovers I did when I was on the trail. It's how my brain, you know, you can tell I'm thinking the same way as I'm watching the video as I was riding the video, or riding the trail. There you go, just stay real slow, let it roll, and then just shoot straight down. There was a lot of grip,
Control, baby.
and so I've seen how slow I could keep it going, and yeah, that's how it's done right there. Yoop. It's just a fun area. If you guys ever make it up here, this is some really gnarly terrain. And we're going downhill, so going up this, you know, it's a whole different track when you gotta do it the opposite direction. But there's so many single track, just like this. This is what I talked about. Jawbone has a ton of just nasty, really tight, really extreme single track all over the place. You can, if you look on the distant peaks and hills, you'll just see lines going all over the place. It's a good climb. Jace does a great job. There's kind of that, there's a big rock line that goes horizontal to the course, and he just popped right over. He carried a lot of speed, just kind of sailed over that section. Right here, yeah, that was really chunky. I came in too slow, and whereas Jace, he had a lot of speed, he just sailed right over there. Sometimes it's just a confidence deal. You have the confidence to let the bike do its thing, you know, get that speed up, let that momentum help carry the bike, and then the bike suspension just does its job. You start lowering your confidence, thinking, oh, I need to, you know, pull back, just not go as fast, and then it's even harder because you're not going as fast. You know, makes that climb a lot more difficult. These really long descents, you get your forearms get wore out. You know, you think you get tired going uphill, well, you get tired going downhill just from, you know, pushing on the handlebars. You got to take a break going downhill, just like you got to take a break going uphill sometimes.
Making you ride sideways. Yeah, lean into the wind.
Yeah, it's still windy. It's funny that it would come and go. You'd have a gust come and it'd be really windy, and then other times the wind kind of died down a little bit. You hear that jingling around in there? That's my little bag, my iPhone bag, my handlebars there. I carry my extra batteries, and then I have a kickstand plate in there. Now when you go to some place, you put your kickstand down, and your kickstand just keeps sinking into the sand or keeps sinking into the mud, and your bike just falls over. Well, I got it from a street bike, this little plate that you put your kickstand on, so it prevents it from sinking. So I kept thinking like my headlight was falling off. I kept looking down, like, what is jangling around in there? And then I realized it's that plate that's banging on the batteries, making that racket. This old ridgeline just had these chunky rock downhills. Oh, I just darted in with my tire in the front to that little rock on the right and lost my balance. So easy to, once you start getting real tired, it gets real easy. You start making a lot of mistakes.
Got speared. Headlights loose or something.
You see that? I say my headlight's loose. Well, my headlight's not loose. It's that kickstand little plate, and then the battery's banging around in there. Which I also usually carry a tripod that
Hanging around.
strapped to the front of that iPhone bag. And it's a little GoPro tripod, so I can take some still shots or photos, group photos, stuff like that. And I forgot to put it on today. We didn't get any photos. You can hear that back tire slide, and so it'll slide, and then I'll pull in the clutch, let it roll, and as soon as it starts rolling, the bike straightens out, gets traction again. Forearms getting to work out. Now back at the top, I mentioned the RC tire guy, Rich Larson. You know, I watch a lot of technique videos. I really like. I watch a lot of Meg's Prop. You know, for the short guys in your group that always complain they don't have the long legs, I always go, well, you look at Meg's Prop. You know, she's only like 5'3", and she's still riding gnarly terrain. You know, she has her bike a little bit lowered, but you know, she's still riding like, you know, like it doesn't matter. And Jace is 5'5", and so I'm telling him, all right, Megs, she's doing this, and she's 2 inches shorter than you, so I don't want to hear that I have short legs and can't do it. The other guy I like the videos that Cross Trainer. Is it Cross Trainer Enduro? I forget what it is, but it's the Australian guy, and he does a lot of how-to videos, and he's done a lot of review videos now. And those videos just make me laugh and crack me up the way he talks and his comments about how he rides, and it just looks like he's a fun group of guys he's always riding with, joking around. I still haven't figured it out. I'm still looking down, seeing if there's something loose on my handlebars. I didn't realize it until I got done with the riding the day. Looked over the bike, and I'm like, there's nothing loose on the bike. And then I banged the iPhone bag around, and then it made the same sound. And then I knew. There's a nice little lip right there. When you clear obstacles, you clear that that little step up right there. It just makes it look so easy, like you didn't even think about it. But I could tell that was like a 2-foot step up there, and I had to get over it, but sailed right over it, so not a problem. And then from there, just straight into the downhill descents. Now we're gonna go left right here, and it's gonna flatten out, and then it starts heading down that ridge line to the left, and then it gets really steep, really rutted out. We're still following a trail. I'm like, oh my God, someone is like, we're following someone's trail, and someone did this. Like, it gets nuts. And I don't know if they made it up it, or if this is just a down way only, because it'll get really loose, like really sandy, and I just can't imagine anyone going up. But there's some crazy guys out there. They can tackle almost anything. Jawbone just has incredible views. So you can see, I think that's what's that, the 95, 295? I forget which freeways that's to the right. And then you have all those solar panels out there. All those guys that you know, don't want us riding over the desert because there's a tortoise or some kind of lizard or something like that. Can't ride here, can't ride there. I'm like, yeah, one little dirt bike, you know, we're through here and we're gone. Like, I don't think the animals care at all. And then you look over the desert and they just got acres and acres and acres and acres covered over with solar panels. And I'm like, yeah, I think that disturbs the environment a lot more than us out here with their little dirt bikes. That's a whole nother discussion I could go off on about what we're doing and why they limit off-road access for especially single track. Dirt bikes just make such a little impact on the environment, in my opinion. Keep going down, it just gets steeper and steeper and steeper. And there's a couple spots where you can see people gave up and they turned around. They're like, nope, not going down that way. Well, keep going. Here's Case now. He's out in front. They were behind me for the last mile, but now they let them get out in front so we can get them on the video. You can see there, people have been
They're like, nope.
turning around going, nope, not going that way. So these really big descents, you just gotta, you know, there's a big rut there.
Don't get in that rut.
Yeah, you gotta stay out of that rut, but you guys stay in control. You can't let your bike, because once that momentum starts going downhill, it's so hard to stop your bike from just taking off on you.
Yeah, look at them go. Shit. Nice.
So the back tire, I'm trying to keep it rolling. So you keep it rolling and then it keeps that traction. If you were to lock up your back tire here, it would dig in and it would start in swapping on you, and then you wouldn't be able to keep it on the line.
Woo!
Just riding with that engine off, using that engine as a rear brake. It's kind of peaceful when you ride engine off, no motors, especially the new Yamahas. They got the intake up top, so it's a lot louder than the other bikes. They have the air intake down underneath your seat. With that intake up right in front of you, you got some extra noise, so it's kind of nice having the engine off a little bit. I've been thinking about riding with earplugs or something like that, because after a while, it just, the noise, it gets really loud. Alright, steep stuff is all done with. We still got a little bit of a trail downhill to go to. It was a relief though to kind of be finished with the super stressful steep descents. Good practice though, you know, you got to practice going down all that steep stuff. There's an old, it looked to me like a mining trail. This had to be like an old mining trail that kind of eat along the edge of this. The valley floor is down there, so we still got another couple hundred feet to go, and then we're home free. From there, you can hop on one of the main connecting service roads, and you can go all the way to Jawbone. There's that restaurant there, gas station, or you can pick a spot and head back up into the mountains. So that's what we did. We rode down a little bit, and then we found another spot and rode up into the mountains, cut across, and then went back to the trailer. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Jawbone's an awesome place. If you haven't been out to Jawbone, or if you like this really kind of extreme hill climbs, this kind of extreme trail ride environment, hit it up. It's an awesome place. There's so many trails out here. You could really spend a long time out here right around just exploring all the different routes you can take. Be prepared for the wind, though. It is extremely windy out here quite often, and you need to have, I ride with a GPS system to Garmin, so if you're ever stranded out here, because you won't have service in the canyon, a lot of these canyons, no service for your cell phone. So I recommend bringing some kind of tracking GPS deal that can help get you out of a jam, just because it's an extreme environment and things can go wrong. With that, next ride coming up, probably do some training videos, but the next big ride is going to be Saboba, which is at the end of February. Looking forward to that. Should be a fun ride out down south. And if you guys are out there, I'd like to see you out there. Until next video, get out and ride and get some.